Hey everyone, so I caught up on the session that I had missed yesterday. My internet was playing up, so the first hour of the second session I did not listen to. Thankfully, the replay was available. So that session focused on burnout and basically what can organizations do when the middle managers and the staff are being burnt out. Because often we are the ones that get caught in between, and the executive are fine. They know what the plans are, what they're doing, what they want the direction of the company to be, but it's like broken telephone. So by the time the message reaches the bottom, the people in the front line are like, we don't really understand what you're trying to accomplish. And they talked about being neurodivergent. So that means people who understand things differently, who might have mental health problems, who might have different impediments that affect their work, and ways we can overcome that. One of the things you can do is to try to give as much as advance notice as possible. It's not always possible, but if you can let people know that this change is coming or this is what we think is going to happen in the business, it helps people to cope a little better. And then you can provide spaces to rest. You can provide like a couch that people can lie down on in their break time, or a games room, just somewhere where people can go to take a quick break. And you can avoid using hoteling systems, because often with people who are neurodivergent, they need to have that comfort of knowing, okay, I have a place to go to sit down to do my work. I know when I'm getting to work, my ID is going to work. I don't have to have added stress on me. And that's not only for neurodivergent people. I think for most people, we would like that. And you can be respectful. You can find out what works for them and what doesn't work for them. When we look at burnout, there are many things that impact it. It's not just one thing. So it could be workload, it could be capacity to meet demands, lack of training, lack of support, lack of enough time off, lack of accommodation, lack of emotional support, low control and high accountability, conflicting demands, and long hours. If you're constantly working long hours, you are going to burn out. There is no way a person can cope. And hazards show up differently across sectors. So if you compare the hotel sector to the energy sector or the healthcare sector, you're going to notice different problems coming up. And you're going to have to provide different solutions depending on the industry that you're working in. Personal factors play a role. So they looked at Lumen as a company, like looking at how now the microchip is being introduced and how it's impacting how people work. So we're not robots. We don't check our emotions at the door and come into work. We don't check out from all our personal problems and come into work. We carry all our baggage with us. And that also plays a role in how we work, in what we get done. So we have to look at what are the root causes of problems and conduct a psychological health and safety assessment. So that could be just checking in with people. It could be just having a daily check-in to see like, how am I feeling today? And, some companies use apps, other companies use just maybe a team huddle to see how people are doing once a week. Other times they'll do an offsite to see how things are going for the team. When we're looking at that, we have to basically ask ourselves, where's the burnout happening? Why is it happening? And put corrective measures in place wherever possible. And when we look at our health, we ask, is it a performance issue or is it a behavioral issue? And you also have to consider how culture plays into that. because sometimes culture is very different in how it's interpreted in America versus Canada, or in Canada versus Africa. Culture can be interpreted as this person is being negative, but it might actually be their culture. It might be something that they're dealing with in their own way that you are perceiving as negative, and they may not be negative at all. So context is important, and that's why we have training on cultural diversity. We have training on how voice and tone impacts different cultures. In North America, tone is very important. In other cultures, it may not be as important. So these are some of the things that we look at. And today I also had an interview with a recruiter. It went very well, but I'm hearing over and over and over from the recruiters that some of our jobs we're not actually recruiting for, we're collecting resumes. And there's a very tight market. There aren't a lot of jobs available, but go on our website and check. And if there is something you're interested in, let us know. So that's very awkward, because you don't know then which jobs are real, which jobs are fake. Are they actually recruiting for that position? And it doesn't matter what industry it is. It could be healthcare, it could be banking, it could be any industry. Today you just don't know. So that also adds stress on people, but at least the interview went well, and they gave me some pointers. They don't want a resume that's over 2 pages in North America. So I try to keep mine 2 to 3 pages because I have a lot of experience. I don't want to take away from what I can bring to an organization. But they're not like England or South Africa or anywhere else where you can have a 10-page resume and you can show what you've done, speak to your experience, speak to the wealth of what you're able to bring to an organization. So it makes it very difficult, because then you have to keep it to 2 or 3 bullet points per section, and then you have to try to adapt and have 4 or 5 different resumes for different skills and skill sets. So that's what I wanted to share a little bit about today. This was part of a one-day event, conference event on health and employee health and how to support the organization. So for me, it doesn't matter what role I have, whether it's project management or executive assistant or an HR role. I take the skills and the knowledge that I have and I apply it in my work. And it's the same with faith-driven entrepreneurs. All of us who are in that are Christian. So at the heart of our work, we're bringing our faith into what we do and our integrity into what we do. And we view our work as sacred. And we view our work as something that is an offering to the Lord. So that's what I wanted to just share today quickly. It's been a long day for me, but it's good because at least I can go back and I can listen to the talks and then I can actually check them out myself. AI is not all bad. I mean, some of the technology is being used for paraplegics. They're developing techniques to give them ways to walk again, to talk again. So it's not like everything about tech is bad. There are some very positive things, and there are some things that could even be considered miraculous because it's brought hope to people where they wouldn't have any hope. And I think that's a positive thing, but some people may think that's a negative thing. Some people may think it's a very fearful thing, but it's the same thing as when they put a stent in a heart or when they give us medications for high blood pressure. We adapt and we take the things that are going to enhance our lives and help our lives to flourish. That's the way I look at it.